Hi, my name is Savannah Hooker and I am a mortgage lender based in Chicago. I work with predominantly first-time home buyers, but all different types of buyers. But today I'm going to be speaking to my first-time home buyers watching this video. If you are someone that is in the process of or curious about the process of starting to buy your first house, I think that one thing all of my clients have questions on is closing costs, because a lot of the resources available to you online exist to help you calculate your monthly payment and your monthly estimates, which is great. But there's also costs associated with buying a house outside of just the down payment. And I think it's not widely talked about or widely, it's not common knowledge. So I'm gonna break down the costs associated with buying a house outside of just the down payment. The first one that you might see or come across when talking to a mortgage lender is a lender fee or lender charges. So lender charges at where I work here at A&N Mortgage in Chicago are around $1,570. And I think a lot of first-time homebuyers might think that this is my commission as a loan officer or something like that, which it's totally not. So a lender fee just kind of is covering the costs of processing and underwriting your loan. So again, not my commission, but that's a pretty standard cost across the board. Another one you can expect is an appraisal. So an appraisal can range anywhere from like $300 to $600 depending on the type of property that you're buying. So we charge around $350 for condos here in Chicago. It's gonna be more for a single family home and even more if you're buying a multi-unit property. The next major fee you're gonna pay is title and recording fees. So here in Chicago, everything's more expensive in the city, right? Title fees are give or take around $4,000. And this is gonna change drastically if you're buying outside of the city. But if you're a first-time homebuyer in Chicago, expect to pay around $4,000 for title fees. The next cost is what we call transfer tax stamps. So transfer taxes also vary based on the city of where you're buying in. So in Chicago, of course, they're more expensive. And it's also an equation that has to do with the purchase price that you're buying. So if you're buying something that's $250,000, your transfer taxes are going to be way lower than if you're buying a more expensive property. But in some cities, the seller actually pays those fees at closing. So depending on where you buy, you may or may not have to pay transfer taxes. In Chicago, you do as a buyer. You're also going to pay an attorney, which typically is between $600 and $800. And let me just say, use a real estate attorney. It's the best $600 to $800 you're gonna pay. And they're gonna make sure that you're not buying a property with any baggage, put it that way. They're gonna do a lot of legal digging and make sure that you're buying a property that is rightfully and legally yours. You are going to pay a year's worth of home insurance up front at closing. So that's just something that everybody has to pay because you need to have insurance on your house. That's kind of the bulk of it. So a lot of times you'll see online, like you might pay between 2 to 5% of the home's purchase price in addition to your down payment. So let's say you're a first-time home buyer. I would go ahead and budget 3% minimum for your down payment plus an additional 2 to 4% for closing costs. And not to negate everything that I just said, but there's always ways to lower your closing costs, whether it's qualifying you for a special loan program that gives you down payment assistance or grant funds, or you can work with your realtor and your lender to help you strategize your offer and negotiate some of those closing costs being paid by the sell side. So there's always things that we can do to lower your closing costs. But if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Follow me on all your favorite platforms for more informational, first-time homebuyer focused mortgage content.